right, this is Samson, part 2, lesson 33. It's on page 72 of your hardcover book, taken out of Judges chapters 15 and 16. The Philistines came up and encamped in Judah. The men of Judah said, "Why have you come up against us?" They said, "We have come up to bind Samson, to do to him as he did to us." Then 3,000 men of Judah went down to Samson. "Do you not know that the Philistines are rulers over us? What then is it that you have done to us?" He said to them, "As they did to me, so I have done to them." So they bound him with 2 new ropes. The Philistines came shouting to meet Samson. Then the Spirit of the Lord rushed upon him, and the ropes that were on his arms became as flax that has caught fire, and his bonds melted off his hands. He found the jawbone of a donkey, and with it he struck 1,000 men. After this, he loved a woman whose name was Delilah. Now, we're going to pause here for a second. Samson's wife left him and was given to a man who was like his best man at his wedding. So that relationship is over. Now she's going to have more trouble with Delilah. Delilah said to Samson, "Please tell me where your great strength lies." Now this doesn't go into it, but if you go into Judges 15 and 16, you'll see that they go through several different episodes where he tells her something that's not true, and she tries it, and she tries what he says is his strength, and then she says, "The Philistines are upon us," and he wakes up and there's nothing there. But then she keeps pressing because she wants to really know where his strength is. She's going to betray him. So it says, when she pressed him hard with her words, his soul was vexed to death. He told her, "A razor has never come upon my head, for I have been a Nazirite to God. If my head is shaved, then my strength will leave me, and I shall become weak." She made him sleep on her knees, and she called a man and had him shave off the 7 locks of his head. Then she began to torment him, and his strength left him. But he did not know that the Lord had left him. The Philistines seized him and gouged out his eyes and brought him down to Gaza and bound him with bronze shackles. Now the Philistines gathered to offer a great sacrifice to Dagon, their god. When their hearts were merry, they said, "Call Samson that he may entertain us." So they called Samson out of the prison. They made him stand between the pillars. Oh, forgot to do this. There's one footnote, pillars. It's posts on which a building rests. You guys know it. Pillars like columns. Okay. So he's standing between these large, huge stone pillars. Now the house was full. Samson called to the Lord, "O sovereign Lord, remember me and please strengthen me only this once." Samson grasped the 2 middle pillars on which the house rested. He bowed with all his strength, and the house fell upon all the people who were in it. So the dead whom he killed at his death were more than those whom he had killed during his life. Okay, so for reflection on the next page, what evidence can you give that Samson possessed great strength? Well, he was able to pull the pillars down. Of course, the Lord gave him that strength. And 2, how did Samson lose his strength? Well, his strength wasn't really in his hair. It was in the Lord. But what Samson did to lose his strength, and this kind of answers question 3 too, kind of mix it together. Samson put Delilah, put a woman, his relationship with that woman above God in telling her what he did. And he basically was betraying God. So he broke the first commandment. Okay, so let's look at the questions. You're going to do, on Samson part 2, you're going to do thinking about God's word, working with God's word, and we'll talk about applying God's word. So go ahead and pause, because here come the answers. Thinking about God's word. 1. What did the Philistines do to take Samson captive? Well, they threatened to fight the men of Judah because of what Samson did to them. 2. What did the bound Samson do that would have surprised the Philistines? The Spirit of the Lord rushed upon Samson, and he broke his ropes, which allowed him to fight them. So they had bound him tightly, but he was able to break free. 3. What did the Philistines want Delilah to find out for them? The secret of Samson's strength. 4. What did the Philistines do to Samson? They cut his hair off, shaved him, gouged out his eyes, and they put him in shackles. 5. Why was it easy for the Philistines to bind Samson now? His strength had left him because the Lord had left him. So it says, 6 says to read the words that show that the Philistines worshipped an idol. Well, it says that they gathered to offer a great sacrifice to Dagon, their god. Lowercase g. 7. Who gave Samson the strength to destroy the building? God. How did Samson destroy the Philistines gathered there? He pulled the pillars down and the whole place collapsed on them. Which words show that Samson was killed too? The house fell upon all the people who were in it. And actually his family came and got his body and buried it after that. Working with God's word. 1. The Philistines went up and camped in Judah. 2. The people of Judah bound Samson with 2 new ropes. 3. Samson struck down 1,000 men with the jawbone of a donkey. That's straight out of Judges 16, verse 5. 4. Samson loved Delilah, a Philistine woman. 5. Samson said, a razor has never come upon my head. 6. Delilah called a man to shave off the 7 locks of hair on his head. 7. The Philistines gouged out Samson's eyes and took him to Gaza in shackles. 8. On the roof of the temple there were about 3,000 men and women. That's a lot of people. 9. Samson took hold of the 2 central pillars. Draw a line under the answer. 1. Why had the Philistines come to the Israelites? To find Samson. 2. How many shekels of silver did each of the Philistine rulers promise Delilah? 1,100. 3. Where did the Philistines put Samson when they got to Gaza? Prison. 4. Who was the god, lowercase g, of the Philistines? Dagon. Dagon couldn't do anything for them because he's not a real god. Okay, applying God's word. What word indicates how Samson, like all people of God, received his strength? The words say the Spirit of the Lord rushed upon him. And 2, we talked about this before. We didn't talk about this exactly. How did the Philistines break the first commandment? Well, they had a god other than their God. What is the first commandment? You shall have no other gods. What does this mean? We should fear, love, and trust in God above all things. They had departed from that. And how did Samson break the first commandment? He allowed his relationship with Delilah to come before his relationship with God. And 3, in his death, Samson destroyed much evil. How does Samson's death remind us of the death of Jesus? Well, Samson destroyed more of his enemy in death than he did in life. And in Jesus' death, he destroyed sin, death, and the devil. That whole thing. He took care of it, wiped it out. It is finished and done. And so someday we can go to heaven with him. And that is Samson part 2. Be sure that you are doing your work, please. And let me know if you have any questions or comments, and I will get back to you with them. So email me. Talk to you later. Bye.